So we are given a continuous random variable, which is defined as follows, and then we're being told to, which is defined with the p.d.f, and then we're being told to find the value of c, the mean, and the standard deviation. Now, given a continuous random variable, we need to know the property that integral from negative infinity to infinity of the function f t dt is equal to 1. So this is the property that we are going to use in order for us to be able to find the value of c. We're going to integrate this function from negative infinity to infinity and then equate to 1. Now, if we look at the range here, we're being given this function. It is defined for t greater than 0. So our lower range is 0 and all the way up to we don't know, so it's infinity. It goes all the way. So we're going to take integral from, it starts from 0 all the way to infinity. Our function is c exponential minus 3t, c exponential minus 3t dt. This is supposed to be equal to 1. So integrating this, what do we get? So the integral of c exponential minus 3t will be c exponential minus 3t over minus 3. Integral from 0 to infinity, this is supposed to be equal to 1. So replacing the values of infinity and 0, we'll have c exponential minus 3 infinity over minus 3 minus c exponential minus 3 into 0 over minus 3. This is supposed to be equal to 1. So evaluating minus infinity, I want us to just evaluate it here. Exponential minus infinity is the same as 1 over exponential infinity, which is the same as 1 over infinity. 1 divided by a very big number. Let's say 1 divided by 10 million. You're likely to get 0.000, so it's 0. So exponential minus infinity on this side will give us a 0 minus, on this other end, exponential minus 0. This will give us 1. There's a minus and minus here, so we'll have a plus. Then this gives a third c is equal to 1. So if you solve this, you will get that your c is equal to 3. Okay, so that's it for c. Then we go ahead and get the mean. So the mean is given by the integral from negative infinity to infinity of x. So in this case, t f of t dt. This is the formula. So in our case here, it will be the integral from 0 to infinity of t. Our f of t is what? C exponential minus 3t dt. But we already know the value for c, so we can just write it as 0. Instead of c, we'll write 3. I'll just take the 3 out here so that I have t exponential minus 3t dt. Then going to integrate this using integration by parts. So let this be u, let this be dv, and then we evaluate uv minus integral of v du. So if our u is equal to t, what is our du dt? Differentiating, we get 1. If our dv is equal to exponential minus 3t, to get v, we integrate this, and we will have exponential minus 3t over minus 3. Replacing these values in the formula so that we are able to get this integral. So remember, we had 3 outside. So 3 into uv, our u is t, multiplied by our v, which is exponential minus 3t over minus 3, minus integral of v, our v is exponential minus 3t over minus 3, multiplied by du, and our du in this case is dt. Okay, and don't forget that we're integrating from 0 to infinity. So the range here is from 0 to infinity. 0 to infinity, 0 to infinity. Now, evaluating this last one here. So here we just have 3 into minus a third t exponential minus 3t, then minus, so we want to integrate this. The integral of this is exponential minus 3t over, there's a minus 3, and then there's another minus 3 for the integration. And now our range is from 0 to infinity. So finally, this gives 3 into, so we can multiply by 3 so that we open it up by the 3 that's outside, so that we are now able to replace our range. So opening by 3, we'll have minus t exponential minus 3t. And then dividing by 3, so we have minus 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 will give us minus eventually. 1 3 will, so we'll have exponential minus 3t over minus 3. Integral is from 0 to infinity. Replacing the ranges, first let's replace with infinity. So we have infinity here, that will give us a 0, minus, if we replace infinity here because of the negative, that will also give us a 0. Minus, now let's replace 0. If we put 0 here because of this t, we'll get a 0. And then if we replace 0 here, we'll have a 1. So there's minus. So this minus. Okay. So the whole of this gave us a 0, minus, and then there's a minus 1 over 3. So this basically just gives us 1 over 3, and that is our mean. Now, the last part is the standard deviation. So we need to first of all write the formula for the standard deviation. So variance is basically the square root of, standard deviation is basically the square root of variance. And our variance is given by integral from negative infinity to infinity of x squared f of x dx. But in our case, we are using t, so let's have t squared f of t dt. So in our case, we will be integrating integral from 0 to infinity of t squared. Let's have the 3 outside. F of t is a 3 exponential minus 3t dt. So we are going to carry out integration by parts again. This is now going to be twice, and then we get our standard deviation. So I believe from there, you guys can be able to proceed in a similar manner. Just know that we're going to integrate twice. Okay.